It's getting dark and I'm about to drive home, so I thought I'll repurpose this time wisely and I will talk to you as I drive along, talking to you about a certain topic of choice. So today we're experimenting with this new format of the video. I know it's not particularly normal for my channel, but this way you get more interesting content, possibly, and I have a slightly more fun time driving and talking to you. How about that, my friends? I think everyone can be a winner in this particular case, but it's your vote. You tell me, you vote with your likes, and you obviously talk to me in the comments down below. Topic of today's drive home discussion with Dimitri is Tesla Cybertruck too big for Australian roads? Is it too obnoxious? Is it over the top? All of that kind of stuff. Of course, I don't own one. Of course, I haven't test-driven one, but I have researched it. I have watched a lot of videos, review videos, just like you have, from different creators, positively inclined, negatively inclined. And finally, I stood for a while very, very close to it, somewhere here in Sydney at Macquarie Centre when they were displaying it. I have taken a lot of very close shots, so I have at least been very close to it. So I can at least talk about how big it is or not so big it is, and what's good about it and what's not so good about it. Sounds good? Okay, let's drive home and talk about it. Before we move on, I would like to thank the sponsors of this video, Car-Linked Systems. Car-Linked Systems also are known as Autokit Carplay systems, kind of go by both names simply because of how popular their Car-Linked 5.0 wireless CarPlay and Android Auto adapter for your car is. They are a long-term sponsor of this channel. They produce really, really high-quality electronics. They're very recognized and very, very well known on the international market, and in Australia specifically. I have promoted their products because I believe in them. Car-Linked 5.0 is not the only thing that I'd like to draw your attention to. I have just reviewed a very, very nice intelligent AI box, their version on an AI box that offers you a lot for money, in my humble opinion. So please watch that review on Auto Gear Reviews, the sister channel of this particular channel, Value Cars Australia, and give that video a like, as well as liking this particular drive. Now it's time to drive home. So first of all, my friends, Tesla Cybertruck, very, very polarizing in terms of the exterior, in my humble opinion. Very, very polarizing. Definitely reminds you of the Aliens kind of crew transportation vehicle that they had in the Aliens movie series. If you're a geek and a fan of sci-fi movies like I am definitely a big fan. And the very, very strong resemblance with that crew moving vehicle, whatever its designation was, I can't remember. I think that's a very positive thing. But the looks are always subjective, but with Tesla Cybertruck, excuse me, that's probably the most polarizing looking vehicle out there by a country mile, honestly. Like, I can't even imagine anything being anywhere close to Cybertruck in terms of polarization of people who love it versus people who hate it. I don't think that the margin of people who would be neutral about it would be substantial. I think that everyone would be divided very strongly into those two categories. Do you like it? Do you hate it? You tell me in the comments down below. That's the first ask of my audience. Actively go into the comments, and if you do nothing else, just tell me that you love the Cybertruck or you hate the Cybertruck. Do that. I already said to you, I personally love it, but I don't judge you if you don't. Okay, you probably is the key word, but you don't appreciate just how freaking massive that thing is. I was surprised. I personally was surprised. Oh my lord. So another thing you don't appreciate is that slopey back, it is actually not part of the cabin. It's not part of the cabin. For some weird reason, I know it's called truck, and I know that you should expect some kind of tray bed, some kind of loading tub at the back for a truck, to be a truck, yes? But I didn't realize that for some weird reason. I thought that it's called truck, but I thought it's just an American way of saying big, massive SUV. That's what I thought it means. And I was wrong. Basically, that whole slopey back, that whole long slopey back, it actually is a proper truck bed that is covered by a roller. That roller is activated electrically with two buttons on the side, on the side wall, if you like, of that roller bed. And that roller blind, if you like, just like goes up, and just the same way it goes down, exposing that long bed. The Cybertruck does not have a spare wheel, believe it or not. It does not have a spare wheel, which immediately disqualifies it from being an off-road capable vehicle, in my humble opinion, no matter how robust and how strong its wheels are. So apparently, in order for you to carry a spare, you basically have to occupy a relatively substantial amount of space within that bed, coverable bed at the back. Okay, so the cabin itself looks roomy enough, at least from the reviews that I've seen. I haven't sat in it. I wouldn't even say to you that I've sat in it. I haven't. I've been around it and I watched videos. So from that, I can say that kinda you are sacrificing quite a lot, just for the sake of that eye candy, perhaps, and novelty, I suppose novelty. Because one thing without a doubt, both that something that a lot of reviewers have said, and just from common sense, when you see this thing, you can imagine that it will be turning heads for a very, very, very long time. I cannot imagine this kind of vehicle on Australian roads or even American roads, where these vehicles became available a lot sooner than they became available here. I can't imagine the novelty wearing off anytime soon. So if you have some 150,000 Australian dollars, of course, to buy this thing, and there is probably is the key word, a queue to get one of these things as well for delivery in Australia, but I imagine that you will be one of the few, not one of the many, who would be driving this thing. That is my assumption. So conclude what you will with that kind of thing. So I'm thinking that you are sacrificing quite a lot, and it's a very, very expensive vehicle for the sake of having novelty, for the sake of, you know, driving past some highly attractive ladies or gentlemen, if you're a lady yourself and you're well off, and them going at you, if that's your thing. That's a crude dad joke, you would have to forgive me. Is it too big? Well, as always, when you say, is it too big, is it too small, is it too expensive, is it whatever, you have to understand, is it too big for what? Is it too big for what? And what are you planning to do with this vehicle? I humbly believe that an electric truck on Australian roads, Cybertruck or not Cybertruck, any other electric truck that now other companies are trying to get into, is a little bit of a contentious issue, is a contentious question. Sure, you might have a place to charge it overnight, but at the same time, electricity or exclusive electricity and trucks that require quite a lot of power to, you know, to be charged and then to perform well for what you wanted to do, either hauling a lot of weight in that bed at the back, or maybe pulling your massive trailer or something else behind. I simply don't know if it's good enough, especially in Australia, where the infrastructure is certainly subpar to Europe, and certainly nothing like it is at least trying to be in some areas of America. And by that I mean, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it in Australia. So in other words, I do think that it's a massive, bulky, gorgeous looking toy, yeah, that you can buy for yourself if you have a spare 100 grand plus, which is crazy in itself. Now, from the reviews that I've seen, basically they're saying two things. First of all, yes, of course it's massive. It's pretty obvious. Yeah, it's over 5 meters long, 5.5 or something like that. Check the specs. This is not the video where precision matters in this case. But basically, I think that what helps it is the abundance of cameras, because the car is obviously has like 55 billion cameras. Don't quote me on that, but it certainly has more than 5 or 3 to see left and right and front and center and assisted systems and God knows what. Yeah, so the cameras are helping you, in other words, and also the steering. So apparently the steering is one of the highlights of this vehicle, and this massive crazy frame that initially you look at it, and I looked at it at Macquarie Center over here, and I was like, my God, there is no chance in the world that this can be steered in heavy traffic. Something like, well, now is not heavy traffic, we're just driving home after work, but at the same time, like imagine heavy traffic and this thing, to try not to nick someone else's car or try not to get bumped into yourself. Well, they probably will get hurt more than you have, but than you will, but that's beside the point. So what assists this is that steering, where the rear wheels, so the front wheels obviously turn into a turn when you need to turn or adjust your movement, But the rear wheels also turn, believe it or not, if you know nothing about Cybertruck. Apparently they do, which naturally, if they turn in the opposite directions, it assists with reduction, reasonable reduction of the turning circle, and making this massive tank on wheels very, very maneuverable compared to what it looks like. You know what I mean? It's kind of like seeing this behemoth of an athlete who then also moves scary fast. And you're like, you're not supposed to be that fast. You're like a sumo wrestler, but they are like, no, man, I got you. And that is the scary bit, isn't it? So in that regard, I suppose Cybertruck is not too big, because as long as it's manageable on the road, well, some people want to be big. Just look at those people who also spend substantial amount of money on something like Ram 1500, one of those massive SUV, also trucks. Size-wise, they are probably comparable to Cybertruck, I'd say, if not larger. Actually, to be honest, if not larger, but certainly a lot less interesting. But some people, clearly without any need to go that large or any need to have a 5.7 liter engine, if I'm not mistaken, which is crazy, right? And having barely manageable size, and certainly not as assisted as steering, where I'm sure those Rams don't have the rear set of wheels that is turning, yeah, with you trying to turn. Conclusion is here that Cybertruck looks awesome, is overpriced, is on a purely electric powertrain base that I don't think fits particularly well into the Australian landscape overall, other than urban environments and other than some very well assisted kind of with recharging stations environments, yeah. And I do think that it appears to be menacingly massive, which is its appeal. That's what makes it into an appealing toy, because some people want to look menacingly massive, and they have the money as well, you know. They also probably are selling some kind of drugs, but that is speculative, highly speculative, because where else would they get this kind of money from? For a toy! For a toy, my friend! For a toy! And yeah, and these are my thoughts on Cybertruck. In closing, what can I say? Am I jealous of those people who are brewing something in their backyard and that's what allows them to fork out 100 grand on a toy? Yes, I am. I am too scared to break the law to do something like this myself, which is why you will continue watching me driving this novated, leasing-backed Subaru Outback. However, yeah, I was standing there thinking all these thoughts, thinking to record this video, didn't know exactly how I'm gonna frame it, so here you go, without overthinking it too much. Your feedback is very much appreciated, and yeah, you can save yourself the time typing up, "It's too dark in the car, Dmitry, as you drive." I know it's too dark. I can see it on the preview of my new action camera, by the way. But at the same time, yeah, I think it was fun to me to speculate on. Now is your turn. Your homework is to tell me, how do you feel about Cybertruck? Are you looking forward to seeing one on the Australian roads? Are you gonna try and test drive one? Are you one of those people who are selling drugs and that's how you have money for this kind of toy? Don't tell me, I don't want to know. And that kind of stuff, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this. The best way for you to tell me that you enjoyed this is to like the video, even if otherwise you don't know how to type. It's okay. Literacy is not a privilege. Literacy is a right. So, you know, I particularly appreciate people who are trying to invest some time into it. And maybe then when you are literate, you can type up your comment and say, "Hi, Dmitry, I'm revisiting you now after I learned how to type." How about that? How about that? That sounds good? Thank you for watching. I'm in a good mood. I hope so are you. I'll talk to you next time in something else, drive home with Dmitry video. Goodbye for now.